Hey guys, this is the Sports Hub. I'm Connor O'Gara. Playoff football is here. We're going to talk a little 8-man and 6-man football in this edition of the Sports Hub. We're going to have a separate edition of the Sports Hub for the 11-man playoff preview. But, we're going to break down all games in the Hub territory. There's 7 games of the 8 and 6-man variety. But before we talk about any of that, as always, it's 3 stars. First star, we're going to talk about Skylar Werger of Elwood. Had a monster second half. 128 receiving yards, 8 catches, 2 touchdowns. They lose that game to Kennesaw, but it wasn't because of Werger. Werger and Zach Hackbart nearly fueled an effort that brought the Pirates all the way back against number 4 Kennesaw in that one. Weren't able to get the win, but Werger did about everything in his power to get it done. They are going to rely on him so much in the playoffs. He's easily Zach Hackbart's favorite target. Second star that we're going to look at, kid that has been in this program, once or twice, Christian Best. You might have heard of him. He had 6 touchdowns in a win in a regular season finale victory against Franklin. Christian Best is doing what he does best, and that's score touchdowns. He has 29 rushing touchdowns on the year. A little bit of perspective, that's as many as Jake Paulson had in 13 games all of last year. I know Paulson's playing 11-man football, a little bit different, but still impressive nonetheless. Third star, Marshall Jeldon of Wilcox-Hildreth. Wow, if you saw what the Falcons did last weekend, impressive stuff. They had 85 points in a win against Maywood. They had 65 points at halftime. Jeldon had 6 touchdowns through the air. He returned a fumble for a touchdown. Just did everything that Wilcox-Hildreth could have asked him for. They have a really tough showdown in the first round of the 6-man playoffs coming up against Spalding. That's going to be something that, if he has another game like that, look out. That could definitely be a game that's closer than many people think. Speaking of Wilcox-Hildreth, Falcons get the number 5 seed. The bad thing is, they get unlucky. They get to face Spalding in the first round. Spalding is the number 1 overall seed in 6-man football. They're scoring 63 points a game. Just one of those favorites to definitely win a 6-man title this year. Wilcox-Hildreth has obviously had a great season under Gabe Eberhardt, a team that has really established the run and the pass. We talk about what Jeldon can do, what Ivan Demidag can do. Just a team that has a lot of balance and is capable of putting up a ton of points, as shown by an 85-point effort last week. And that's exactly what they're going to do to have to be able to pull off an incredible upset against Spalding, a team that is really coming into its own in 6-man this year. That's going to be a matchup that's going to see a lot of points. I just think that if Wilcox-Hildreth can somehow find a way to get some touchdowns through the air and on the ground, that's going to be the key in that game. There's a certain theme to these playoffs, and that theme is rematch. We have a good rematch in D1. Arapahoe, number 12 seed, is going to take on Elm Creek, the number 5 seed. We've already talked about what Christian Best can do. We've already seen what he's capable of doing against a team like Arapahoe, which actually contained Elm Creek pretty well in the second half of that game. Elm Creek was able to hold on 42-36 in that one. Ball security was a major point of emphasis in that one. Arapahoe turned the ball over 5 times in that game. Warriors need to be able to hold on to the football and possess the football, get it out of Christian Best's hands. I think the X factor in this one, LaShawn Thornabar, a kid that has 12 tackles for loss in his last 3 games. That's impressive stuff. If you look at what he's able to do as a fullback, able to get some passes out of the backfield, he could really take a lot of pressure off of Christian Best if that's what Arapahoe is going to focus in on. I think this is going to be another good game. Could be another instant classic in the Hub territory. You're going to get sick of me saying the word rematch, but really, it's a theme. Ansley Litchfield, number 10 seed, going to take on number 7 Amherst. This is a game that I saw a couple weeks ago, a game in which Ansley Litchfield really did a good job in the first half of containing Amherst. I've talked about the firepower that offense has. Trey Taubenheim, Braden Eckhout, Coltenberg. We talk about these guys every week, it seems like. But Ansley Litchfield contained them very, very well in the first half. Amherst did not have a touchdown until there was a minute left in the first half. I know that's something that A.J. Berkey is going to look at. He's going to look at that game film. He's going to say, how do we contain these guys? How do we get them in these 3rd and long situations? If they can do that, this is a game that might be a little bit closer than what we think. Amherst, obviously a team that's capable of taking over in the second half of games. If you could put together 4 quarters of solid defensive football and play a very low-scoring game, Ansley Litchfield will have a shot in this one. How about Shelton? We talked about what Mike Lowe's bunch had to do to get into the playoffs. They had to win 3 games in a row, including a win at Arapahoe in the season finale, and that's exactly what they did. Impressive stuff by Shelton. They earned the number 14 seed in Class D1. Bad news is they get number 3 seed Hemingford. No team in the state of Nebraska has scored more points this year than Hemingford. That's pretty impressive stuff. In order for Mike Lowe and that defense to be able to somehow contain Hemingford, it's going to take an unbelievable effort. Obviously, the Bulldogs are going to look to rely on Jared Mielbach. He has been such a good workhorse back for them, and If they can contain Skinner, contain Wood, who knows? Maybe this is a game that gets a little bit too close for comfort for Hemingford, but it's going to take the best game Sheldon's played probably in a long time. Have I said the word rematch enough yet? Do you feel like you've really heard that? Because I'm going to say it another time. Elwood, number 5 seed in Class D2, is going to be taking on number 12 seed Loomis. This is a game that the first time those two schools met, Elwood was able to take control in the second half of that one, put up over 60 points, and was able to get a nice, comfortable victory. I think this is the battle of the Zacks. I think this is Zach Hackbart versus Zach Clark. It's a really good quarterback battle. Both these two quarterbacks can take over with their legs, can throw the ball a little bit. And I look for what Zach Hackbart is able to do on the defensive line. I think that's also going to be a really good battle. He's going to have a tough assignment being able to contain Zach Clark, able to get to the outside, able to run some guys over, use that speed and agility. If Elwood can somehow contain Clark, I think this is a game that Elwood could potentially run away with. That offense can just get going so easily. Loomis dealing with a lot of injuries right now. If Elwood is able to kind of maintain some of the offensive firepower that it's generated as of late, look out, the Pirates will be getting their first playoff win since 2008. I always find myself saying that I would not want to be a Western Nebraska school come playoff time. Hay Springs is the unfortunate team that gets to travel 300 miles to take on number 6 seed Bertrand. If you're Bertrand, you have to think, we got to get off to a hot start. We got to be able to come out of the gates and firing with some big plays in the passing game and the running game. Try and catch a team that has had such a long trip. Try and catch them a little bit off guard. Tyrell Younger, Jake Samuelson, Joey Kolfak, we've been talking about these guys all year. They're going to need to really set the tone early on. They can get a touchdown, maybe in the game's first couple minutes. That's going to put them on their heels. I don't know if Hay Springs is a team that's necessarily had to play from behind all year. Bertrand can get that running game going. Look out, Vikings will take control in this one. I always say that perspective is everything, and I think that's especially true for number 10 Overton. They're going to get to take on number 7 Brady. Perspective very important for Overton right now, which has played much better in the second half of the season. A team that was so young coming into the season really had to rely a lot on Creighton Ryan, Chris Sieber, a couple guys that have just been absolutely huge on both sides of the ball for that team. And they need them to play big in this one. This is a Brady team that comes in one of the most balanced attacks in D2. Overton can maybe somehow generate some pressure, make them a one-dimensional team. I think this is a defense with Zach Zaleski that could really get going, generate some momentum. Look for a typical 7-10 matchup as being, a close game. I don't know, Overton, I just got a feeling Overton's going to be able to pull ahead in this one. As I talked about earlier, we're going to have our 11-man preview edition of the Sports Hub. That's going to be online Thursday. Definitely going to want to check that out. We have print previews that are coming out for 8- and 6-man teams on Wednesday in the Kearney Hub Sports section, and then on Thursday we're going to have all those 11-man previews. And Thursday, Friday, we're going to have all the game stories, all the video coverage. There's going to be a lot coming from us. We're looking forward to it. It's playoff time. It feels good to finally say that. We're looking forward to all the action going on in the Hub territory. So for Conor O'Gara, this has been the Sports Hub. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.